supply chain even. So this entity, Two Heads Are Better 2020, is a networking piece for grassroots solutions. I ended up, because I've had a network across the East Coast for several years, I ended up contacting people from Boston to Atlanta. Basically, the schema of it was 10 people serving as boots on the ground to try to figure out how we acquire more accurate public information that's necessary in our community, how to acquire basic needs, who the go-to person or people are now in terms of leadership, in terms of point people in those various cities. Officially in New Rochelle was a gentleman by the name of William Burns. I called my cousin. One of the cousins was the former head of the NAACP. Another cousin actually drove a taxi, and he knew boots on the ground, exactly what was going on in the city. But like I said, the organizational premise is 10 people in those go-to areas until we get the Two Heads Are Better spokesperson, that will platform the needs of a community from this point on, because we know we have individual needs, personal needs. We know we have family needs. We know that we have needs on behalf of the municipality. We know that we have tech, which is tech support. And we know that we have tech concierge needs. People are being laid off, but yet they might have a truck. People are being laid off, but they might be able to cook. People are being laid off, but they might be able to help people with online applications. People are being laid off. So we have a host, before people freeze because of the fear of this this plague, we need to collect ourselves, put our heads together, and our God-given power of cooperation together to realize what the community needs. If you went to Two Heads Are Better, the number 2, heads with an S, the letter R, better2020.com, you'll see the beginning of the outline of it. And mind you, this is brand new because I am from New Rochelle. I was raised, like I said, as a leader. I was blessed to be president of our single high school, which is 3,000 kids. I was blessed to be a state intern when I was in the 70s, and for a senator from New Rochelle. I was blessed to be on the state youth board, which made me a leader for the rest of our lives. Student empowerment is really a carryover of what New Rochelle gave me. We have to start utilizing our young people that are social media savvy in this whole equation. Two Heads Are Better includes them, so that instead of playing Fortnite, we need them to save lives 100 at a time, in this pandemic that we're currently experiencing.
Definitely. Appreciate that comment from you, Calvin, and I definitely think this is a great concept. And I would definitely want you to stay on the line, but I also need to get Dr. Orion Davis on as well. He's one of our other callers, and I think we're going to have some others, but definitely stay on the line. Dr. Orion Davis is actually out of that area that we're talking about, and is definitely about positive psychology. I actually met Dr. Orion Davis, and he was supposed to have joined us last week through Sree, who does these conference calls regularly, the COVID calls, and does the read-along with the New York Times. Dr. Davis, are you there? And can you tell us about how important positive psychology is during these days and times? I know a lot of people are very much in fear because of what's going on, and they're very much concerned about what's going on. And I mean, we definitely want the people to be concerned, but I'm sure that you're trying to find a way to have people think positively, create not being so much of a fear base, but being realistic at the same time. So could you share a little bit about how you're encouraging people in positive psychology and well-being, because we do know that we do want people to stay creative. We do know we do want them to have positive well-being. I was enjoying a conversation yesterday with another doctor person, and they were telling me how we want people to definitely stay involved exercise-wise, stay involved and engaged any way that they can to have that positive well-being, even at a time that they're being limited in what they can do. I mean, you can't necessarily go and do team sports anymore because a lot of times that involves more than 10 people. But you can still, a lot of places, go out for a jog or go out and enjoy yourself to maintain this positive well-being that we need at this time. So I was just wondering if you could share with us a little bit of your thoughts on that.
Sure. Thank you very much for having me. There's a lot that we can do, and I think the first step that we really need to take is to begin by validating our experiences. For many of us, there's a lack of information, or there's actually just so much information that we can't figure out what's correct, what's not, what's true, what's not. That's going to leave us kind of scared, and we are looking at a situation that could be potentially dire. We're worried. We do have friends and family that we're afraid could get sick, and we are watching people filling up the hospitals. We're seeing political battles. There's something to worry about, and that's okay. Like, we can have our moments of worry. The thing is that if we let that overtake us, then it goes too far. But what happens to a lot of people is they're trying to hold in the worry. They're trying to say, don't worry, or, I'm not allowed to worry, or my worries aren't legitimate. And that's what really gets people down, because not only do they feel the negative emotions, they can't express them, and they can't get some validation that they're allowed to have them. So start with that. Be accepting of the fact that you're worried, you're scared, you don't understand what's going on, you're worried about family members, you're worried about layoffs, you're worried about these challenges. That's okay. And take the moment, experience that, and then it's, have your freak out if you need it, but then when you're done, it's, now what do I do? And all of us do have the capacity to do things. Whether it's just putting out the applications, or what I like to call it sometimes, if necessary, collecting rejection letters, and building a nice collection to see how many you can get, if you need to think about it that way. But in other cases, it's calling people, smiling at people. Just about 20 minutes ago in New York City, we've been doing the 7 o'clock applause for medical professionals. And all over New York City, people are just leaning out their windows and screaming and shouting and clapping their hands for all the medical professionals who are jumping into harm's way and are helping out everybody. And like in all these things, we're spreading sunshine. I got friends who are artists. They're sharing their art. I have friends with pets. And cute cats, cute dogs, and all this sunshine on the internet. People are sending out emails. I got an email from a guy I haven't spoken to in literally about 8 months. And he just sent me an email, how's it going? I know everybody's worried. I've got some resources that most other people don't have. If you need them, let me know. And like each of these bits of caring, these moments of reaching out, these connections that we have to people, and the ability to connect to people, this is something we can do. And every last one of us has people in our lives that we can make smile. And when we do that, and research is very clear on this, that when we help other people, we definitely feel better. And it does give us the feeling that we really can do something. And if each one of us is spreading just a little bit of sunshine, whether it's, oh my God, my dog is really cute at the moment, take a quick video, put that on Instagram, just reaching out to somebody you haven't spoken to in a while, hey, how's it going? Sending a text, sending an email, even just sending a quick note, whether by snail mail or any other medium, you're doing a lot right there, and you can recognize that you are doing a lot right there.
Yeah, because I know I was talking to a friend of mine, and that's actually one of the things that they said that they had done was that they had called a friend that they had not talked to in a long time just to have that conversation with them and just to see a physical face. I think it might have even been a Zoom call or something where they were actually seeing them, even though they could not physically be together, because I think the person might have been in another town or another city or something, or maybe even another state, as I stated. But they were definitely trying to find ways to enjoy that camaraderie, because as I mentioned to a couple of folks, we are definitely social people. So I know that there are a lot of folks that are missing the social aspects of what are going on. We were actually talking earlier today. I had a friend that lost their wife, and they had a very small funeral that went on and everything, and they did invite people to come to see the Facebook Live of what was going on, but usually that would be a bigger event, and there's been some people that are well known here in the community that have also not been able to give the kind of salute that they would have given to somebody that had passed in pre-corona a pre-COVID kind of time. So definitely I think that is something that is going on and something that we have to deal with. Dr. Davis, if you'll stay on the line, I definitely want you to hear more of what's going on and to add some more conversation. But I do see that we've got Dr. Tommy Parker on, and Dr. Tommy Parker is got some ties to this whole COVID-19 and what's going on. He's actually done some research. So I'm actually curious if he could give us the layman's definition of what's going on, because I know every time people are hearing about this virus and everything, a lot of times we're not getting actually what's going on. So Dr. Tommy Parker, for those that are hearing about COVID-19, and we heard about it almost daily. Well, we are hearing about it daily, and we're hearing about it in different ways. I mean, there's the stay-at-home order. We're at one now here in Durham. I believe there's one that's actually the whole state of North Carolina is under one as well. Because actually, I believe I might have misspoken earlier. The state one is the one that went into effect earlier today. I believe the one from Durham had actually gone into effect last week in the latter part of last week, but the state one did go into effect at around Monday, so earlier today. So we're at a statewide stay-at-home order here in North Carolina, the state of North Carolina. So for those that are listening, could you please explain exactly? We've heard different theories about the virus. Everybody has mentioned something about, I've heard like that an animal that's a mammal that has like some snake-like qualities, and I forget the name of that animal. I've also heard people theorizing about other animals, and of course, it's being said that it came from a certain part of the world and everything, but I think that some people try to misuse that and also use that as a political weapon sometimes, but as we know that people will do when these things happen. But just from a scientific standpoint, can you explain to us exactly what COVID-19 is and what we are dealing with?
Right. I can. How much time do I have? Because that'll let me know how deep to go into this.
It's a 2-hour show, but definitely I don't want you to take up the whole 2 hours. If you could give us like a condensed version, then that would be great.
All right. Perfect. All right. So one of the things, to give some background, I deal with mammals. I'm an ecologist. We've been very familiar with coronaviruses for many years. Someone who works with animals, especially wild populations, we kind of have to stay up to date on these types of contagions that might jump into humans that come from animals. But you're asking about COVID-19. So what COVID-19 is, COVID is actually the disease that's caused from the virus. And the way we name these things is you're going to experience the disease before you know the cause, right? Especially if it's something novel. So you'll know you have some disease going on. So the disease was named by kind of what we thought would be the cause of it. So that COVID, that's corona, C-O, from the corona part, and the V is virus, V-I is virus, and D stands for disease, and then it's hyphenated with the year that it was discovered, which is 19. So that's what COVID-19 is. The actual virus itself is SARS-CoV-2. Now, everybody familiar with SARS from a few years back, and how that SARS did not spread into a pandemic, but it has some similarities, and that SARS stands for severe acute respiratory syndrome. So you have this set of symptoms, and this is what the SARS portion comes from. So acute meaning is very short acting. It's not chronic. Chronic means that it's lasting for years usually. Acute means it's very short acting. And, of course, respiratory, everybody knows what respiratory within your lungs. And syndrome, anytime you hear the word syndrome, that means that it has a suite of things that are associated with it. In this case, you're talking about fever, cough, the fluid in the lungs. So that's the syndrome part. And so that's where all these names are coming around from. And I think what happens is that in terms of in the scientific community, we don't do a good job of breaking things down to the general public, and it causes fear because these words sound really, really shocking, and they can really set people back, because a lot of people are going off of things that they're getting from movies, that they get from TV, granted, a lot of those things have some accuracy in them, but a lot of them are also kind of made for drawing certain types of emotions out of people because it's theatrics. One of the things that we've been looking at is the move that this virus made bats to humans. Now, if you look at the Yunnan province around in China, this virus has been there, and there's a bunch of researchers that have looked